Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is George, and for today, I'm going to talk about, yes, yet again, the Epstein files, but I'm going to focus on something a little different. And um, if some of you remember the when the newer batch of files were released because even more were because recently even more files were released. But the thing is, in the previous one, one thing, if any of you probably heard mentioned in a lot of the or even mentioned, if you've like remember mention, is the fact that there are these Russian girls, and it's like and we don't know anything about them. It's just Russian girls, and and I mean, yes, it's just Russian girls, but like um we don't know them personally. So yeah, and uh and and today I want and because of this I want to talk about um the fact that how much and the fact that um a lot of the recruited girls, because obviously the girls who've been recruited are not just from Eastern Europe, but even other parts and even other parts of the from the US, obviously. But more specifically, I will focus on the Eastern European girls and where they are and which countries kind of mostly kind of they come from. So yeah, um, like I said, there are Eastern European girls um who are who've been recruited, obviously, and for modeling by very by modeling agencies who've promised them uh, well a generous pay, because let's be honest, we're talking about we're talking about the early 2000s, and um as probably as some of you probably don't know, but much of Eastern Europe before 1991 was was the Soviet Union, or well, let's just say there was the Soviet Union, and then there were the satellite states, like like where I come from, Bulgaria, who's also was a satellite state, uh, who was also a Soviet satellite state. Like I said, the and since and because of the fall of the Soviet Union, these these countries had to deal with financial problems. Obviously, some worse than others, and by now these countries are fairly okay when financially speaking. But yeah, like I said, these modeling agencies, when we're going after girls from very economically um, from from Eastern Europe, uh, where the countries had like economic problems, and they were recruited with the promise of good pay and things like that. One now something that a lot of people don't really mention is which countries they come from. Now, the countries that the countries that kind of that you can, from what I've heard, that are mentioned in the Epstein files, or well, the previous batch of files, that is, Latvia. One of them is Latvia. Latvia appears like hundreds of times in the documents with modeling agencies and advertising and obviously and obviously um, there I assume because of it there is probably some investigation into that or the in investigation just it happened and that's not something I don't and that's not something I am aware of. Another country that appears is Ukraine. So according to the DOJ, DOJ documents have mentioned that they've identified Ukrainian agencies in Kiev uh, in Kiev uh, with inquiries about models in talents in Ukraine. But the thing is, Ukrainian journalists went on to say that that actually the agencies didn't exist and therefore the recruitments did not really happen. Um, uh, but the thing is, uh, obviously, um, obviously, girls came forward and said what needed to be said, and there is, I assume, a investigation or or it passed. I don't know again. And the other country that appears obviously is Russia. In the files, there are mentions of Epstein like conversing with top officials and him liking most Russian cities and even hanging out in Russia. Obviously, the person that a lot of people kind of are have heard the recruiter per se. Well, one of them that is well known is Jean-Luc Brunel. Jean-Luc Brunel has he's a French modeling agent who ran these things and has been conversing with Epstein because to recruit girls and obviously from poor Eastern European countries. Um, uh, he was, I think, as of 2025, like, or no, 2022, he was arrested, and or no, in 2022, uh, he was, okay, he was, well, first arrested, and in, I don't know, 2028 or no, in 2008 or I don't know, but uh, but but then he died in 2022 before his court ruling. So yeah, um, and no, he was arrested in 2020 and he died in 2022. Yes, this. So yeah, and well, um, much like Epstein, he and also I want to mention that also Epstein died before his trial, before his court trial, and even his death is also like a mystery, like mystery in and itself. So yeah, um, so what does all of this kind of mean, or what does that have to say? So Epstein has targeting has targeted girls from uh, not so wealthy countries, countries with economic problems, promising them a good employment and things and good and a generous pay. But the problem is that but the problem is that um, these women are presented to with are presented with these stereotypes, and even I know I'm aware there are stereotypes about Eastern European women that are obviously very degrading and are not really they don't really speak to the average Eastern European woman who just lives her life on a daily basis. Um, and also we have to talk about, like I said, the stereotypes that haven't been these stereotypes that kind of ran rampant during that time that were never, I think, resolved. So yeah. Um. So yeah. Like I said, the victims have spoken out. Well, the ones who've been recruited from America, obviously, and they're awaiting their chance to kind of their or their court ruling to get it resolved, and I'm hoping that it goes well for them. Good luck, good luck um, to the girls, and I hope they're okay. So yeah, um, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.